Welcome everyone to the ACE RMO 2025 Rotorua Hospital webinar. My name is Sam and I am the ACE RMO consultant. So today we're going to start off with an opening karakia by Amy. Thank you so much. And then I will give everyone a brief outline of today's webinar. So Amy, if you mind opening us up, thank you.
Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mākina kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e he ake ana te atakura, he teo, he huka, he hauhu, te hei, mauri ora.
Thank you so much. And thanks again to everyone for taking the time to join today's webinar, and as well as our panelists. I know this is valuable time for you all, so we really do appreciate it. During the webinar, we'll have a video to share with you all, and then we'll have two lovely presentations that will be presented by our panelists and our RMO representatives, and they will just tell you a little bit more about their experience at the hospital. Just to note, towards the end of the webinar, we will have a live Q&A session, and then finally we'll close off with a closing karakia. So just a quick reminder, all questions can be dropped in the Q&A box above. You can drop those questions in the box throughout the webinar. However, just to note that they will only be answered towards the end of the session, but please keep the questions coming.
Hey everyone, I'm Christian. I'm a PGY2 house officer, currently working on orthopedics and ENT.
Kia ora koutou, ko Kate Kerr tōku ingoa. I'm Kate Kerr, one of the pre-vocational supervisors and a ED physician here in Rotorua.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Chloe Ferguson Tibble tōku ingoa, no Hokianga ahau. My name's Chloe, I'm from the Hokianga. I'm a PGY2 this year and I'm currently working in the emergency department.
Kia ora everyone, I'm Beta, I'm a PGY1 and I'm currently on Gen Surg at the moment.
Hi everyone, I'm Chancelie and I'm the Medical Management Unit Manager.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Amy Mansell tōku ingoa, ko au te kairukuruku or Medical Management Unit. Hi everyone, my name's Amy Mansell and I am the Medical Management Unit Coordinator.
Kia ora koutou, ko Leah tōku ingoa no Rotorua ahau. I am the pre-vocational supervisor admin support here at the hospital.
Hi, my name is Holly Wilson. I'm a PGY1 at Rotorua Hospital. Currently I'm on the medical unit and previously finished my orthopedic run. I chose to work at Rotorua Hospital because I heard that it has been really well supported, as well as it's got lots of really great outdoor activities such as the redwoods, multiple lakes, and we've got a really good work-life balance here. We've also got a great medical management unit who abide by the 10-4 roster, which is also really good. And I've really enjoyed my first few months working here at Lakes DHB. I plan on working here next year as well.
Hello, I'm Corey, PGY2 at Rotorua Hospital, currently working in the orthopedic unit. I chose to come to Lakes DHB as a PGY1 because it's got a great reputation for teaching and work-life balance. The main benefits of working here, you've got the lovely outdoor stuff to do, so if you're a keen mountain biker or if you want to go out to the lakes and that sort of thing. Workload's pretty reasonable here, so most days you start just around 8 and you're normally able to get away from work by 4. You only have to work 1 in 4 weekends, give or take, and over those times you're quite well supported by senior staff.
Hey, my name's Tim. I'm one of the medical registrars here in Rotorua Hospital. I'm in my 3rd year now. I guess a little bit biased because I'm from Rotorua, grew up here and went to school here. But coming back to this hospital was easily the best medical decision I've ever made. The staff here are all wonderful. It's a great place to learn. Not too big that you get lost in the shuffle, but not small enough that you don't get exposure to medical things. So I mean, if you choose to come to Rotorua, it's definitely one of the best things you'll do. Everyone here is great. We've got the redwoods. The hospital here has heaps of social sport teams, touch, basketball, netball.
Hi, I'm Sneha. I'm currently a PGY2.
I chose to come to Rotorua in my first year of working because I really wanted to come to a smaller centre, and I heard that it was really friendly, and it's been an amazing experience so far. All the bosses are really friendly, and it's a great work-life balance, so I recommend it. Advice for applying to Lakes DHB or Rotorua Hospital. So I think it's probably a good idea if you come in and see our medical management unit personally.
Definitely pop on through some stage during the year and show your face around. It's a very friendly community and they want to make sure that each applicant would fit in here, so that's the main thing.
Previously in the past it's been quite popular among the TIs to apply here, but we've also making space for our Otago grads as well as people from other hospitals.
Come join, lots of fun.
Like I said before, I'm one of the pre-vocational supervisors here in Rotorua. There's 5 of us, and our job is to support the PGY 1s and 2s in their time as interns at Rotorua Hospital, provide pastoral care, help with education, and generally just make sure you have a really good overall experience here and come out the other end as competent and happy and healthy doctors. We've already done the introduction, so if we could, there's just Eric has now joined us. He was just running a few minutes late. He's one of our PGY1 representatives. He missed the introductions. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I think that explained from a intern perspective what's good about working in Rotorua. But I've just got a few other things on this slide. Essentially, if you don't know, but Rotorua is a regional hospital in the central North Island. We service a population of about 120,000, and the hospital has roughly 200 beds. We live in a really beautiful place in terms of the natural environment. There's 15 lakes in the vicinity. There's a Kaituna River, which is famous for whitewater kayaking. And then the forest is a major draw card for lots of people living in town in terms of access to biking and running and walking, horse riding. But then we're central, so we've got there's good access to other outdoor pursuits like the beach, the ocean, the mountains, tramping. So in terms of place to live, it's pretty great, and you'll find that a lot of the staff working and living here are here because they really enjoy it as a place to live and enjoy it as a place to bring their family up as well. There's just a few visuals to back that up. In terms of the size of our hospital, we think it's a really great place to do your first 2 years as a doctor. It's big enough that there's lots going on, and you have, medically, there's a lot of interesting pathology, interesting cases. There's enough subspecialties to learn from, but it's also small enough that you get to know people really well. There's quite a flat hierarchy compared to bigger hospitals in terms of on the teams. You often work quite closely with the consultants, and you just get to know in general everyone around the hospital. It's quite a friendly and supportive environment. We have formal teaching, which I'll go into on another slide, and I'll also talk about the range of clinical runs that we have. As most people would be aware, we have a high proportion of Māori living in our area that Rotorua Hospital serves, and roughly 50% of our patients I know coming through ED are Māori. So that's quite unique compared to other places in the country. And I think we draw staff members and people who are interested in diversity, interested in Māori health, interested in addressing inequities. And we, as a group of staff, we strive towards that. It's a small town, which comes with benefits in terms of it's close to get anywhere. The parking's pretty good. We have bike storage under the hospital that's secure, and reasonably modern facilities, mostly. There's a list of the PGY 1 and 2 runs. In general, we have some subspecialties in medicine, but mostly they work in their subspecialties in outpatients, and then work at the teams itself are general medicine, but with subspecialty flavours. So there's a gen med team that's more cardiology, gen med team that's more respiratory, etc. Otherwise, there's standard PGY runs, and all PGY ones get at least one medical run, one general surgical run, orthopedics run, and then either psychiatry or a community run as their fourth run. All of the PGY 1s and 2s get allocated a community-based attachment here, and we're one of the only regions that do actually provide that and are actually 100% compliant with that. And a lot of the bigger centres, it's really hard to get those GP runs or those other community runs, and they are generally well liked by the interns, and they find them a really useful learning experience, and give good exposure to life outside the hospital and thinking of different career paths. When you go into PGY 2, we have 3 6-month runs, which is ED, PEDS, or O&G, and we do 6-month runs for those because they take a little bit longer to get used to, and we find that there's better learning opportunities if you have a whole 6 months there rather than just one quarter. And then our most popular run for the whole internship is ICU, which is a 3-month run, ICU and anaesthetics. So that's a bit of a draw card for the PGY 2s. And then most PGY 2s will do a reliever run as well. This was our first year where we actually took on 17 PGY 1s, from 13 for as many years as anyone can remember. So we've got an increased capacity and enjoying having a few more bodies around, and we will be recruiting to 17 for the 2026 intake as well. Teaching time, we have predicted teaching time on Tuesdays and Thursdays, as well as pre-vocational meeting on Wednesdays, which is more pastoral care, but also just giving a bit of increased support to the PGY 1s, particularly at the start of the year as they get used to working life, get used to hospital systems. And that's about addressing issues early, and intervening where we need to, and really providing a little bit more wraparound support. So I think compared to bigger hospitals, we have those more personal relationships in between the pre-vocational supervisors and the interns, but also just in general amongst the SMO group and registrars with the interns. They'll hopefully talk about it, but I think from a SMO perspective, looking at the new interns, I see that they're well supported by each other, and I think you see the new PGY 1s start, and the PGY 2s, the ones who've just finished their PGY 1 year, really wrap around them, and I think for that core sort of how to be a house officer, how to start your first doctor job, that's really important in terms of supporting them doing those day-to-day tasks and getting through those, your first long day, and all those questions you have, that they really support each other, and I think that's a really nice part about working here. That's just an example of some of the teaching rosters for both surgical and medical. I think I've touched on this, that we have 5 pre-vocational supervisors from a range of specialties, including general practice, and we are sort of that in between the hospital and medical council, or the organisation and the medical council. So we're there to provide support, but also advocate for the interns and make sure that balance between service provision and education is maintained, and that you can work, that you are able to achieve all your educational needs and supervisory needs to get general registration and to get your, to get through those first 2 years. We also help with a little bit of career planning and just generally supporting the interns as they go through those first 2 years. So as I mentioned on the video, Rotorua has previously been pretty competitive for getting a job as a first year house officer. That may have eased a little bit now that we have 17 spots compared to 13. But we do take the recruitment process really seriously. We have a panel that looks through all your CVs. We actually read your cover letters. So this is just a little bit about what we would want to see in the cover letter and what we're interested in, which is really that we want to know a little bit about yourself, and most importantly, we want to know why you want to come and work here. So that's really important. Having a personalised cover letter, letting us know a bit about yourself and why you think you'd be a good fit here. We really try and have a mix of Otago grads and Auckland grads. Traditionally, we've had more Auckland University graduates wanting to come and work here, but in an ideal world, we would have, a mix of half and half. So don't be put off if you're from Otago. Do touch base with us. Visit us if you can. Otherwise, we can arrange a Zoom or a Teams catch up, answer any questions that you have. But yeah, be in touch if you're interested. Don't be put off if you're from Otago. We'd love to have you here. I think I've covered that. People can ask specific questions if they have anything more about the application process, I think, at the end.
Okay. What we love about working here, so I'm a PGY2 and I did a couple of student years here, so I love Rotorua Hospital. It's got a really good work-life balance. There's lots to do in the community, and so it's got the redwoods. It's got lots of lakes to go to on Thursday nights. There's a night market in town, and everyone's there's a really good sense of community. Everyone kind of rallies around each other and spends time with each other inside and outside of work. And a really big thing is at the bottom of the slide there with free parking. You can park, within 100 meters of the hospital, which compared to a lot of the bigger centres is it's a big win. And it's very easy to get in and out of work. And there's just some photos of the redwood and some of the nature and the lakes around Rotorua.
So this is about what the job's like. So as everyone sort of already said, that there's really close-knit teams. By the end of sort of each run, no matter what the run is, you'll know everybody's name. You'll probably know who their partner is, who their kids are. You'll know a lot about each other, and so you work really closely. And that sort of flat hierarchy that Kate alluded to is true. When you haven't worked in a small hospital before, you might not know what that's like, and it's really special, and it enables a sort of learning that you might not have the opportunity to have in bigger hospitals because you can get a bit lost, and that sort of feeds into having supportive seniors. It's like anywhere. There's great seniors that are hands-on and completely supportive, and then there are seniors like there are everywhere else as well. And but one thing I will say is that everybody's committed to teaching and to ensuring that the PGY 1s and 2s have ample opportunity to learn the things that we need to know in order to kind of safely go through and provide really good patient care. So that's a bit about the environment. I sort of can't emphasize how much how important the small stuff is. It is really small. Like you go into the cafe, Josie works there. She knows your number for your food. She often knows what you want from the cabinet. She might even say that she thinks you should have a little bit more of this because everybody really cares about everybody here, and so that's really special. So yeah, in terms of logistics, some good things I think in terms of that hectic sort of part of starting, and you guys can probably comment on this too, is you don't have nights for 6 months. It's it's quite a big, not a shock, but it's big doing your first sort of 3 to 6 months as a doctor. So it's nice to have that sort of 6 months before you have to start on night. Some people even get 9 months, depending on where they are in the roster. And you work 2 to 3, maximum of 4, I'd say, weekends per quarter. And you have a long day a week, unless you're rostered to the weekend, and on the weekend you'll have 1 long day. Yeah. Reasonable hours, definitely. I remember texting friends from other hospitals last year, and they were finishing a lot later than what we were. Our contracted hours are quite reflective, and as you get sort of more efficient and stuff, it becomes more achievable. That CAT stuff is written there quite clearly, so I won't go into that. But yeah, you've got 1 long day a week, and maximum of sort of 2 per week in your first year.
I'll cover this one. So for the opportunities in each one, I've only done medical and I'm on week 3 of surgical at the moment. But I've had a lot of hands-on opportunities in medicine. There have been times where I've been able to, or I've been given the opportunity to do a lumbar puncture. That wouldn't have been an option in a bigger hospital. I came from Palmerston North and like Wellington and such, as well as like ultrasound guided IV lines. That kind of stuff is something that I probably wouldn't have had much of an opportunity to do like last year before. Can't really cover gen surg or community, but I'll ask your ideas.
I can cover that. So I've been on general surgery Q1. With the staffing levels, there's definitely opportunities to get to theatre. The consultants are quite keen to have you along if you show interest, particularly on the elective lists. They will ask if you want to go rather than a registrar if they think it's appropriate. And there is the minor ops clinic downstairs, which is run by various registrars and bosses. In terms of orthopedics, I can't comment, but I believe ENT, Christian.
Yeah, I can talk. I've done all of the runs on there. You can literally do anything you want if you've got an interest in an area, because the consultants are so approachable. You can join in with most things. Minor ops is really good they remove skin cancers, and you can get involved with suturing. Orthopedics, they love to have you down in clinic or in the theatre if you're interested. Same with ENT. In terms of procedures, like you get a lot of exposure to phlebotomy and putting lines in. There's an ultrasound machine for the ward, so you get really competent in putting in IV access into difficult patients. In your PGY2 year, you can get a bit more teaching with putting midlines in if you do the ICU anaesthetics run. And in terms of community, a really good thing about Rotorua is you can do a community run in your first year, and that's not applicable in all hospitals. So I did Turangi last year, and there was really good exposure to really rural medicine, and spent half a day at one of the prisons as well, doing a clinic there. So you get a really good range and opportunity to do a lot of things here than you might be able to do in other centres.
I'll just add on to the community. One of the other special things is there's an iwi-led service that is part of the community runs that you can select, and that's quite rare to be able to work at a general practice that is even just kaupapa Māori, but to have one that's iwi-led is sort of probably even more rare. So that was quite special. And that was sort of shared with mental health services for older people, which was fun doing a mix of both of those.
So I'm one of 2, me and Rena are the only 2 Otago grads from last year. I unfortunately wasn't able to come in person, but I did schedule a Zoom catch up with Kate midway through the year. And so that's how I introduced myself. It was nice to know that they wanted a mix of Otago grads, because I was quite intimidated by the group. But everyone's been very, very friendly. I'm real grateful that I chose this place. I think it's been a good transition. I think we're very well supported here. And I chose this place to get a small, because I like small hospitals and I wanted more hands-on experience, and I've gotten that. If you're from like Christchurch, where they do like online charting and prescribing and whatnot, it might be a bit of a change. But it's easy to transition once you get the hang of it. I came from Palmerston North, so I was used to it from the get. It can be difficult to find housing. Yeah, it took me a while to find a flat around here, but I'm sure if you reach out to our medical units, they'll help you transition easily as well as whoever will be coming here next year to, I guess, make a group chat and get comms in early, try and flat together.
I don't know, actually, these slides have been recycled a little bit, but Christian and I had a look at this and we're like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. And then we actually updated one of them. So the hospital kai, I would say it's pretty good. On the weekends, it's a bit shady, just because it's, and when I say shady, I just mean, it's just they're catering to less people and it just kind of isn't as amazing as it is during the week, I guess. Hospital coffee depends on who's making it, and it's there, which is amazing, and you can get good barista coffee, so that's good. RMO Lounge is the one that we just updated. I think
upgraded that a few points.
Yeah, I think it was like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
And then last year there was MMU and a couple of our mates did a lot of work with it, and it's paid off. So it's a really nice space now that smells nice, have comfortable chairs, nice places you could get a bit of a sleep during a night if you wanted to, or if your pager doesn't go off. Car park, 10 out of 10 because it's free and close, and it's safe too. In terms of there would always be. I mean, I don't personally use it, but there would always be someone to walk you to your car if you wanted to. It's light all the way up to all of our car parks that I can think of. So safe and close and free. Bike storage, as Kate mentioned, and then vibes, I'd say best in Aotearoa.
So
I'll start it. I'll start it just because I'm on ED. So Christian and I are both in PGY2 at the moment. So the emergency department, I've got that. I'm on that right now. It's 6 months. It's very hands-on. Is good that that's capitalised because it is, and it's sort of the first time that you've got the opportunity to sort of independently start to think and work up patients. And probably the things that I love the most about it is how much time you get working together with patients and their whānau. Like on the wards, there's a lot of time spent behind computers, and there's still a little bit of that in ED, but it's much more sort of patient and whānau facing, which is sort of why we did this, and that's really cool. And then there's always someone there to support and guide you when you're unsure. The SMOs will gladly come in with you, and they come in and check things and teach you things, and you'll be doing I&Ds with them and learning to use the ultrasound in a learning space with patients. You can do heaps of like plaster casting. You could basically do whatever you want with what patient presentations come in, as long as you've got the right support, which I've never not had so far. So and it has regular weekly teaching, which it's people in other hospitals in PGY1 don't get that weekly teaching as an enforced thing, and ours is enforced, which is great because you have to go to it, but it's also great because then you can tell everyone on the ward, I'm just going to teaching and I have to go to it, which is it's supported. And ED has 2 hours of that every week on a Tuesday, and it's sort of the next step up from that stuff that you learn in year 1.
I haven't done the MAPU role personally, but it's basically you work with the medical registrar and you're admitting patients from ED and before they get up to the ward. So it's a really good transition if you're interested in pursuing a medical specialty, or even if you're wanting to do into GP, or it's really good practice with that. There's also an ICU run, which is quite popular. So we have an ICU here with, I think, 6 or 7 beds, and you work with the consultant and the nurses up there, and you get to do lots of procedures, central lines, art lines, bed lines, and that's quite a popular run. And then every PGY2 has to do a relief run for at least one of the quarters, and you basically fill in gaps in the roster, and so you get to work all around the hospital. So that, except you wouldn't do pediatrics or ONG, so you do surgery, orthopedic, psychiatry, medicine. I did that last quarter, and it was really fun actually, and it was good variety.
That was amazing. It was really informative. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm sure our participants did too.
Sam, can I just add from the medical management side, just briefly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a small snippet from us. We love to have visits from our PGY 1s and 2s. Really close relationship with our pre-vocationals as well. MNU's door's always open. We have a small team of 4 in the office, and Chantilly is our new manager, and then Leah on site also helps us. What else do we want to say? So we're in charge of essentially all your leave would come through us, rostering, any sort of questions that you have. We always, feel free to reach out whenever you need. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I might just add on, and not just because they're sitting across from me, but the MMU unit here is really, really good. And they're, you can go approach them anytime, and they're very accommodating for leave that you have or things you need to change around. So it's a really big win to have here.
Thanks. Yeah, we do our best, try and make everything work for everybody, and generally have treats in the office too.
Okay, we've got one question. I think your slides and your presentation was so good. I think it covered most, so there hasn't been many questions. I've got some general questions that we generally get through the webinar, so I'll ask that. But our first question that we received in the Q&A box was, unfortunately, I missed the start of the presentation, so my question may have been answered. If we were unable to personally visit, how can we go about organising a Zoom catch-up?
Yeah, so if you just email the Leah, who should be on the ACE website, isn't it? Yeah, the email on the ACE website, information under Rotorua Hospital, Leah will tee it up with one of the pre-vocational supervisors. And I wouldn't worry if you can't visit in person. It's quite common for people to meet with us digitally, and we don't want people flying around the country and burning lots of carbon just to come and see us. If you get a job, we'll be seeing lots of you next year. So yeah, just get in touch with Leah. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And yes, all those details, employer information, contact details are all on the ACE RMO website. So, okay, so some general questions that have come through. We had a lot of questions with regards to accommodation costs. Were you able to share any average accommodation costs, if you know?
I'll share something just briefly. My whānau and I were living in Auckland because obviously I was studying, and when we moved here, our house became 3 times bigger for the same price. And we've got kids, and so yeah, that doesn't give you like a dollar number, but you're getting a lot more for a lot less in Rotorua. What do you guys?
I think in terms of accommodation wise, myself and then talking to other people, sort of how much rent is, things are generally a lot cheaper than Auckland. Don't know if I want to go out numbers, but less than $300 easily. And in terms of daily costs, there's a lot of close accommodation to the hospital. Rotorua is very local. You can get everywhere you could need to be with sort of minimal petrol costs. You can run, you can bike. Your transit journey in the morning is going to be quick and it's going to be cheap. So I think that made a huge difference to me personally, coming from a bigger centre like Auckland, to just be able to minimize the cost of living and be able to spend money on things that I enjoy.
Good point.
I think a reasonable 3-bedroom home, you'd be looking between $600 and $700 a week.
Yeah.
For a reasonable 3-bedroom home in a nice sort of area.
There's also quite a few houses that, like other house officers that are moving on, have typically rented, and so there's like a good network. If you just get in touch with any of the doctors here, they'll probably have someone that's moving out that you can get a room in.
There's a RMO chat here, and I think there's like 60 of us in it, and things come up in that. So if you know someone here, which often people do when they're coming this way, reach out to them and get them to put it in the RMO chat.
Yeah, a proportion of the interns each year actually decide to sort of go for their first house purchase here as well, because I guess prices compared to the bigger centres is more affordable, especially I guess those ones looking at staying on a few years, staying into PGY 3 or 4, stepping up to registrar jobs. So that is an option here as well. And if people do purchase a house, they usually then, if they move away, they can usually rent it out pretty easily to other house officers and registrars. And there's a bit of a pool of houses that do cycle through the RMOs.
We have another question. If they were on an elective in Q3, how would this work with shortlisted interviews? I'm not sure if you touched on if Rotorua does do interviews, or if you just look at the application with regards to cover letters, ACE score, etc. So maybe you can touch on that a bit more.
No, we don't do interviews, so we would expect you to have made some personal contact. And so a CV or cover letter application that hasn't been with someone who hasn't made any personal contact will be down the ranks compared to people who have either emailed, visited, set up a digital discussion. So no need to interview, but if you're away for Q3, touching base before you go or while you're away would be fine. You wouldn't be disadvantaged.
No more questions in the Q&A box, but I'll see what other general questions we have that we can ask. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the orientation week will look like?
So
the PGY ones,
yeah,
talk about that. That's just done it.
It was a really good orientation week. So it's a full week that's blocked out to cover, the administration side of things in terms of getting onboarded to all the IT systems and the health and safety. But beyond that, there's a wonderful introduction to all of the different sort of specialties, particularly the MDT, their role and how they function in this hospital. You get to personally know them quite quickly. Of note, we stayed a night at one of the marae down the hill, which I'm forgetting the name of, unfortunately, which was a really fantastic experience. Being welcomed into that setting really made a difference in terms of, I guess, realizing and understanding the privilege of our role in healthcare, and with regard to the community in Rotorua and the wider area. It was a good bit of bonding, I think, team bonding for the PGY ones. And I think by the end of orientation, we felt like we had, I was TI here last year, which helped, but maybe you can speak to how you felt in regards to the general.
Yep, I definitely felt more comfortable starting the week after that. And I can't complain. I've had a good experience with the TIs from last year. Everyone's been very welcoming. And in terms of the marae stay, I think that was really important for us to form that bond relationship with the land and the people. Something that I don't think any other hospitals do that I'm aware of.
Sure.
Yeah, I just found it very unique and very awesome.
So I think we will finish off with one more question. Are there any research opportunities?
I can speak to that. I personally haven't been involved in any, but I've been offered quite a few, and it's only 3 months into the year. I know some people who are now PGY 3 who were sort of approached by consultants or showed interest in research and we're given opportunities to investigate different health systems here, be involved in audits, and get involved with sort of wider nationwide or regional studies. I think there are a lot of consultants very committed to quality improvement, and I think one of the runs in PGY2 is relief and quality improvement, which has a dedicated day each week to perform an audit in an area that's of interest to improving the healthcare of our hospital or country. And so I'd say that there is sufficient research opportunities. Once again, the consultants being very approachable is very important, I think. I feel very comfortable walking up to pretty much any consultant in this hospital and chatting to them about something, whether it's professional or otherwise. And I think that's very beneficial in getting involved in research, building connections in order to sort of enter into that environment.
And we've certainly had interns, particularly those interested in surgical specialties, who want to do research early on as part of their gaining points for application processes, who've been quite motivated to do research early on, have been well supported by the consultant group, have gone on and presented at at national conferences or Australasian conferences with those research findings.
I mentioned Fatima. So last year, across Australia and New Zealand, I think the 5 states in Australia and 1 for New Zealand, the councils elect a intern of the year from across the PGY1 and PGY2 groups, and the candidates are sort of elected based on their contributions to junior teaching and to quality improvement and supporting junior staff in the transition into sort of early years of doctor. And we were very blessed to have the winner of that last year in our hospital, Fatima. So she won the New Zealand prize for that. She did many quality improvement projects, going through guidelines, getting involved, making sure that junior doctors feel supported in approaching medical tasks by having sufficient resources available. And I think her achievement reflects not only her hard work, but also the Rotorua Hospital environment and the support that she was able to have to progress with that throughout the years.
Great, thank you. Well, I can't think of a better way to end the webinar. Thank you so much again. If any of our participants had any burning questions that they didn't answer, ask through the webinar, you're more than welcome to contact the RMO unit directly. And if it's anything with regards to the ACE process at all, please feel free to reach out to me either by phone or email. All my details are available on the ACE RMO website as well. And just a reminder, you can keep up to date with any tips or updates on our Facebook page as well. But on that note, thank you all for your time. It's been amazing. I'm going to hand back over to Amy to close us off with a karakia.
Thanks, Sam, and thanks everybody for joining. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te atawhai o tō tātou areki, a ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairoa tapu, ake, āmeni. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely evening.